freaking like it. And I don't remember many of them this year. Do you remember?
You go right on working.
Okay. I put my head down nice.
There you go.
Wait, send me 20 copies.
And now you're in Colorado. It's great. And where is it again? Now, where is that? South of Dallas. Nice you came in.
When you were so young.
It's great. It's great.
Last year.
So we did?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they can watch
The camera.
All right. Okay, we had to do that. Okay.
Where you guys want to sit?
I know.
My daughter lives here.
I'll come back after.
Well, are you retired now from the Irish?
I'm working on my house. Now I'm going to carry that. That's who we were just talking
Joe, come get my
Still married to that they would remember you?
Hi, Mark. 100 years. 100 years.
Roxborough High, Ben DeFrancisco's children, and what are you going to say to Daddy?
Hi.
Hi, Daddy.
Congratulations.
Hi, Daddy.
There you go,
And what
that's
else you
the
gonna
one.
say? We love you.
I got to get in here.
Yeah,
There
get
you
in.
go.
Get Daddy. Here's a guy
There's
that's
Daddy.
That's it. Come on, Mom. Get in there.
The camera, turn around, get a shot. I have your substitute now, Bob. Does that have sound? Does that have sound?
Absolutely.
I won't say anything bad on it.
Sounds on, man. It sounds on.
The sound on.
Whoops.
Give Bob a drink. Go, Bob. You want a drink, Bob? Get one more round. We'll know when the news is real. Here's
Who's the board?
It's time to start the Hanging Cliff Show. Yes, I have to say, will this classroom please come to order? Everyone tonight to our 9th annual Hall of Fame induction. We have 4 individuals and 1 team who have been quite outstanding at Roxborough in the past years, and we hope that all of you will enjoy the evening. You'll see some people you know, you'll get to see some other people that maybe you didn't know too much about. So we hope that everyone enjoys themselves tonight. Before Mr. Warmer comes, I have a couple of announcements. During the evening, we're going to be selling 50-50 tickets, and I don't know if it's really a 50-50 or not, but what we're going to be giving away are t-shirts that say Roxborough football in the front. So people will be coming around to sell in. The other thing, after our festivities, after the inductions are over and after the evening is finished, the 57 football team is going to have a special program after it's over, and all of you are invited to stay if you want to, but they're going to be looking at some of the highlight films and talking about old times and that type of thing. So for the 57 football team, I think Coach Hauser expects all of them to stay. And any other people who are here who would like to stay, you're welcome to do so. I'd like to turn it over now to our principal, Mr. Henry Martin.
Thanks, Cliff. I just want to welcome everyone this evening. It's good to see some familiar faces. A really large crowd tonight. This is our 9th year. I can't believe it. 9 years. And this year I actually know two of the inductees. And it's just good camaraderie. Good to be with folks from the Roxborough area. People came in from all over the country, believe it or not, for this evening. And it's just a wonderful feeling to have all you folks together. I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful evening. We're videotaping everything. And I just want to thank Ron Halley and the committee. I don't want to say names because I might miss someone. They're just doing a wonderful job. Let's give them a nice round of applause for putting this together. Wonderful job. And we welcome all of you. We'll have a wonderful evening. And before further ado, I'd like everyone to honor America, greatest country on earth. Stand up and please pledge allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Well, I have to thank the Lord for your goodness and your kindness to us tonight. Thank you for getting us here safely. We appreciate that so much. Thank you, Lord, for this time where we can honor athletes days gone by. Lord, just pray that you to watch over us. Thank you for his life in your name. Thank you, God, again for this evening. Bless us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Past athletes, past alumni members of Roxborough High School. For everyone, for just one moment, everyone, one moment of silence, please, in honor of our former athletes who passed on, and our former alumni members who have passed on, and our former inductees. We have some inductees who passed on. Thank you.
Is when Mr. Howard was reading the list of past inductees to the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame, he omitted one gentleman, and I'd like to recognize him at this time. He was football, baseball, basketball. In his senior year, he was the second highest scorer in the public league behind Will Chamberlain, and that's Bob Warner. Bob? If there are any others that were overlooked, please let somebody know. Two other things before I get into my introductions. The 50-50. After the 50-50 is drawn, don't throw your tickets away. There will be a 50-50 when all the money is collected. Then there are some other prizes that are going to be chanced off at the end after the 57 team's induction. The other thing is there's a membership table right over here. Ron Halley, Joe D'Angelo, anybody who would like to join the High School Sports Hall of Fame. It's $50 for an annual membership, or for a lifetime membership, and $5 for an annual. What I'd like to do now is recognize some of the honored guests that we have with us this evening. First of all, Kathy Mandarino, our state representative from the 194th District. Would you please stand, Kathy? All right. The 21st Ward AA Sports Hall of Fame. Where are they? All right, George Kotzenbach and the other members back there. The Summit chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. Where would they? Okay, back at the same tables, nice. All right, Linda McGee. Linda McGee is the athletic program manager for the School District of Philadelphia. And thank you for coming this morning, Linda. Al Angelo, who was the former football coach at Frankfurt High School, and I believe Al has probably won 10 championships in your coaching career. Nice to have you with us again, Al. Mr. Joe Goldenberg. Joe was the former basketball coach at West Philadelphia High School, and I don't know how many championships you had out there, Joe. Thanks for doing it. One last introduction that I would like to do. This was a teacher at Roxborough High School. I believe his daughter is teaching at the high school right now. We all remember Ralph Spizzato, but I don't know how many of you know that Ralph has a new title. He is a judge in the Court of Judicial Discipline for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Ralph, would you please stand up? Now, I'd like to turn the program over to Bill Phelan, who will do the introduction for the nominees. Thank you.
Good evening. Before I get into the presenters for tonight's inductees, I just wanted to first, we're only going to read this once this year. This is the City Council, City of Philadelphia citation for all inductees, and it reads as follows. The Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to join the Roxborough High School family in congratulating you on the occasion of your induction into the Sports Hall of Fame. The Council notes that through your determination and discipline, you brought distinction to your sport, and today you bring pride to this community. Sports have always been a symbol of the highest values of life, and thus you are a model of our historic concept of citizenship and humanity. The Council further notes that for these many years, you have been honored for your contributions to athletics and to the wider sports community. We find that today you are a member in good standing in the Universal Club of world-class athletes, strong in spirit and committed to the eternal value of sports. Therefore, by virtue of this citation, the Council of the City of Philadelphia does hereby commend you upon your induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. We thank you for your contributions, and we extend to you the respect, admiration, and very best wishes of this legislative body. Congratulations. Signed, Anna C. Berna, President, Michael A. Nutter, Councilman, 4th District. Thank God I'm going to read that once. Okay. Our first inductee tonight, Marie D. Beatty. She will be presented, and the award will be accepted by her father, Charles Beatty.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the committee for inviting me here tonight, and as a proud father, giving me the pleasure of presenting Marie as she is inducted into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. Marie's interest in sports began when she was in the 7th grade at Immaculate Heart of Mary Elementary School. She played basketball and softball in the CYO League.
In 8th grade, she continued to develop in both sports and won trophies for basketball, softball, and hardball with the Giants of the 21st Ward Junior League Championship team. Marie's love of sports continued into her freshman year at Roxborough High School. She was the MVP in basketball and also all-public honorable mention. As a sophomore, Marie added field hockey to her list of achievements. She received all-public honorable mention in field hockey and basketball, as well as all-public in softball. Her junior year was fruitful, with again all-public honorable mention in field hockey and basketball, all-public for softball, and the MVP award for the Public League All-Star team. Senior year was just as rewarding. For the 3rd year in a row, she was awarded all-public in softball, which came to be her favorite game. Marie's academics did not take second place to her sports achievements. She was awarded the National Honor Society as outstanding in 1977 and made the honor roll all 4 years. Her extracurricular activities included orchestra, marching band, student government, Girls Athletic Association under the sponsorship of Mrs. Hammis, and Fellowship of Christian Athletes under sponsorship of Jim Howard, squash, tennis, skiing, swimming, and the school paper, The Ridge Record. Upon graduation, Marie won an academic scholarship to the University of Denver. 4 years later, she received a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. I observed that Marie was always willing to complete whatever task was asked of her with enthusiasm and a smile. Always a team player, she would console or cheer her teammates to cheer them on, whether in the game or on the sidelines. I can tell you as a father, she was a pleasure to be around, even in the difficult teenage years. I wish to recognize and thank her coaches, Mr. Joe Ponick, Mrs. Christian, Mrs. Miles, and her teachers, who with their expertise and guidance helped Marie to be the woman she is today. After Mrs. Hammis called and told Mrs. Beatty and I about Marie's induction into the Hall of Fame, we called Marie, who lives in Seattle, Washington, and I told her, "Hey Marie, there are some people in Roxborough who think you were one of the best female athletes ever to graduate from Roxborough High School. You have just been inducted into the Hall of Fame." She said, "Hey, that's cool." I'm really excited that they gave me this honor, but gee, Dad, due to job obligations, I won't be able to come east for the award ceremonies. Perhaps Lorraine and Margie, they're her sisters, could accept the award from me. After all, Lorraine was all-public in basketball, and Margie is already in the Hall of Fame with her championship volleyball team. Mr. Chairman, it's with great sincerity and admiration that I present Marie for acceptance and induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. Will her sisters please come to the podium to accept the award?
Great job, Dad.
Yes.
Super great job. Wow, a lot of people walking. Well, Dad, you did a great presentation. Lorraine and I are so excited to be here to accept this award for our little sister Marie. Not only is she a great athlete, she's a great sister as well. Last year, I had the honor of being up here with Mrs. Hammis as the 1976 girls volleyball team was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. I never thought that I would be the first one in my family to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. Lorraine practically rolled on the floor when I told her what would happen and that I was being inducted, and she said that since I was the least athletic sister of the family, she couldn't believe it. Now Lorraine is the only sister not in the Hall of Fame. So perhaps I can at least let something to her before she leaves? All kidding aside, Lorraine and I are happy to share this moment in Marie's life. At last year's banquet, many of Marie's friends told me that they nominated her and they really think that she should be in it. Well, she made it. Now let's listen to what she has to say. She sent a little audio, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it from here. I haven't heard it yet because I wanted to wait till this moment.
Hello from Seattle. I'm very excited and honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. What a thrill it is to be nominated, much less selected, into this society. I keep up with the local news by reading the review each week. My parents give me a subscription every year and it keeps me connected with home. I pay special attention to the sports section, checking on the Roxborough High teams. I've also followed the previous nominees and inductees into the Hall of Fame. To be included in the same company with these outstanding individuals is something I will treasure the rest of my life. There are so many great people to thank for helping me through high school, including my parents and family, who were always supportive and loving, many teachers and coaches who encouraged me to give my best effort, my teammates who made my sports experience a lot of fun. From them I learned what it means to work together. These many influences shape my outlook on life, and I'm a better person for it. Playing for her before she left for West Philadelphia High School. Ben DiFrancesco, who we affectionately called Mr. D, he would roam the school halls and sidelines, giving encouragement and always a smile. George Eworth, who was a legend as a multi-sport athlete. I recall looking through my sister's yearbook and saw George in almost every team picture. I just kept thinking, this guy does everything. And congratulations to the 1957 football team. Your example of excellence is what every team shoots for. Have a great evening, and thank you again.
Next up, we will present Mr. Ben DiFrancesco. He will be presented by his son, Ben Jr.
Good evening. I'm very happy that you have chosen my dad to be a member of the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame, and I want to congratulate the other inductees as well. My dad's career began at Mount Carmel High School in Pennsylvania. He played football and baseball while in high school and was the captain of the baseball team in his senior year. He continued to play football while serving with the U.S. Army in Germany. His college career began at Susquehanna University in 1958, where he played football for 4 years and baseball for 1 year. He captained the football team in his senior year and was an All-American in both his junior and senior years. He coached football at Harrison High School in New Jersey, Susquehanna University, Delaware Valley College, and of course, here at Roxborough High School. My dad was inducted as a charter member of the Susquehanna University Sports Hall of Fame in 1967, and this past fall was chosen as one of the top 100 football players in the school's 100 years of playing football. In 1982, he was also inducted into the Ed Romance chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in Mount Carmel. I wish I could have seen him teaching and coaching more often, but just listening to both of my parents talking about the games and about Roxborough High School, I know it was special to him. Just listening to his sports stories about when he played and coached has been a lot of fun for me. I know how much he likes to laugh and to make us laugh. Most of his stories about sports are interesting and sometimes even funny, until you've heard them over and over again. I know he did very well as an athlete and a coach, but I'd like to tell you what a great dad he's been to my sisters and me. He gives us so much of his time to help us with anything we need, from homework to driving us wherever we need or want to go. He's always there for us. I know I would have loved to have been one of his players, and I think you guys who played for him must feel the same way. Thanks for everything, Dad. Mr. Chairman, it is with great admiration that I present my dad, Mr. Ben DiFrancesco, for acceptance and induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Tough act to follow. Thank you, Ben. You're the best. You know, Roxborough High School has given me many wonderful things, and for which I am really grateful. And I'd like to take this moment to introduce probably the best thing that Roxborough High School ever gave me, my wife, Denise. Ben just met Jackie and Mary Beth. I say thank you to God every night for blessing me with those beautiful children. Thank you. Also sitting with us are some other family members. My nephew Bob Wynn. Bob lived with me in Roxborough for a little bit, so he's got a pretty good feel for the community. And my great nephew Brian and his lovely wife Sandra, soon mom to be Sandra Wynn. And of course everybody knows Norm and Hank sitting over there with us. They're like my Roxborough family. My congratulations to the other inductees for their outstanding accomplishments and careers, and to Coach Fred Hauser and his champions, well done. I would also like to congratulate the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame for doing such an outstanding job every year. And again, it's another one this year. And don't forget the D'Angelo family, Joe Bart, and all, another great job. I am truly honored to be inducted into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to take this time to say thank you to some people whom I appreciate for being my friends. And I mean all the Roxborough High School family, people, I call them family, who made it such a great place to work for 33 years. I really had many great times. Thanks to principals like the late Tony Giampetro, the retired Liston Knowles, and current principal Hank Marmer, who were so supportive of athletics. They knew the value of sports in young people's lives, and that's what our jobs are all about. I want to say thanks to my department head, friend, and soccer coach, Howard Light, for all of his help. You can do it, Howard. He understands what that means. And thanks to my coffee buddy, Mimi Nolan. Mimi has been, and continues to be, our main link to the infamous committee. Everybody knows what that means, who worked with me. And to all my lunch bunch friends, who made me laugh and who laughed at all my corny jokes, thanks for being my friends. Bunch of good splufkies. All right? My special thanks to Coach Cliff Hubbard for putting up with me for the 22 years we coached together. I said many times I would never want me as an assistant. I was always in poor Cliff's ear, trying to call plays, some of which weren't even our plays, right? Most of all were bad. And all my yelling, throwing, kicking my hat, real productive stuff. Man, Cliff, you put up with that for 22 years. I don't know how you did it, but thank you again for everything. And during those early years, Cliff, if you remember, you and I would have been in big trouble if it weren't for some guys who volunteered to help coach with us for nothing except a love of the game. Guys like past inductee Norm Haberling, whose coaching record speaks for itself. Guys like Mike Reeder, he's not with us anymore. I mean, not around. He's now a doctor. Don't think he's died. He's a healthy, I'm sure, a healthy, great guy. Steve Hare helped us so much. Paul Fisher, Bob Tarlow, Joe Pardini, and many others to whom I apologize for not remembering at this time. For the last couple of years, thanks to Dennis Gable, who coached with me and helped me keep it together at the end. Thanks, Dennis, and everybody. And how about Jack Harmer and Eddie Peters? They're still helping everybody. They never stop. They're great guys. Being around Roxborough High School in the community for as long as I have, you get to associate with, have a drink with, and become friends with a lot of nice people. But I want to remember some community guys who made football at Roxborough High School even more fun. I mean the Domino Lounge chapter of the Roxborough High School Football Boosters Club. You didn't know we had one, huh? We did. And guys like our late friends, Tony Consolo, Kenny McDougal, guys like Vince Hopkins, Jack Gibbons, John McHugh, Billy Keenan, many others. Some with kids who played for Roxborough, but most without. These guys raised money and honored our kids with some super end-of-the-year banquets. Just some good times. And when the banquet stopped, they donated the remaining money, a significant amount, by the way, to Roxborough High School's athletic department. They were good guys. I've always felt that Roxborough High School and I were a good match from the day in 1966 that I started to the day last year when I retired. And when I began coaching and got into the great Roxborough tradition, I felt as though I'd be here a long time. 33 years is a long time. There were so many great kids, great games, many highs and some lows, but always a good feeling about something to look forward to. The next game, the next season, a new bunch of kids, some of them really super players, some not as good, but all of them great kids who went out there and put it on the line, letting everybody see their successes or failures, but always representing Roxborough High School to the best of their abilities and with class. What a ball it was coaching them all. So once again, I truly appreciate this honor, and I want to especially say thank you to the great Slufkies I had the pleasure of coaching. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Thanks again.
Our next inductee, George Eworth, will be presented by Jim Hallett. Before I bring Jim up, those of you who might be whispering in your napkin, man, he let himself go. It's been a while since I've seen him. We know him as Mr. Roxborough High School. Here's Mr. Jim Hallett.
I always take abuse from my ex-players. The Eworth brothers, Reverend Bob, who gave the invocation, and George were outstanding students, ideal students at Roxborough High School. They were both Eagle Scouts. They were both the National Honor Society. They were both chairmen of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapters in school. They both were captains of the soccer team, both made Old Public, both played soccer in college, and they were both just outstanding, likable guys. And at this stage in their life, they're both serving mankind, one through Christian mission, and the other through education. Now, George, who we're honoring this evening, actually had 10 varsity letters at Roxborough High School, played 3 sports. And when I think about his playing ability, I think of a saying my mother used to do with me, good, better, best, never let it rest, till your good is better and your better is best. Well, when I think about George as a tennis player, he was a good tennis player. In fact, the team was undefeated at a record of 45-0, and they lost to Northeast High School. And I think he made one of the public teams there. But I feel he was a better swim coach. I was a swim coach, and maybe I got to see much more of him. But he didn't consider himself a swimmer. He used to call himself a surfer. And he was good enough to be a finalist in the 50-yard freestyle. I think he took 4th in the city championships. And he also anchored a medley relay. They took 2nd in the championships. The team itself won the division championship, was undefeated, and they lost to powerhouse Washington, who had won the championship for the 9th consecutive year. But he was best at soccer. 2 years he made first team All-Public, and the senior year he made first team All-Public and All-Scholastic. And he was picked to play for the All-Scholastic team in the bicentennial game, and it was the only sporting activity in 1976 that the governor appointed as a bicentennial sports event. We played the New York City All-Stars, and we won 2-0. Nemo Gambero, who was out here, scored the 2 goals in the 2-0 victory. Well, let's give him a hand there. And it's so good, no small feat, beating New York City. I might add that in his junior and senior year, that George led the team in assists, and which was pretty good because we had the highest goal scorer in the history of Philadelphia Scholastic soccer, and that was another Gambaro. That was Paulo Gambaro. Raise your hand, Paulo. 124 goals, and George assisted on most of them. But the real story about George Eworth is not his playing ability. The real story on George Eworth is his leadership qualities. He had the rare thing, I don't know how many people at Roxborough have done this, but he was a captain of the 3 varsity teams in his senior year. Now I know Marie Beatty was also the captain of 3 teams. But George led all 3 teams to the finals of the Public League Championship, and the soccer team was undefeated and won the Public League Championship. Certainly it is unique. But George's leadership was so good that when he was on the All-Public team, which played in the All-Scholastic Round Robin, he was selected as the captain of that team. And on the All-Scholastic team, I was ready to go up to play against New York with them. New York, all the areas that were playing against us, and we had the suburban, parochial, private, and public schools in the Delaware Valley area that were on that All-Scholastic team. George was selected as the captain of that team. And what impressed me, I was the coach of that team, but what impressed me is that George knew everybody's name even before I did. So you could just see that people got up and did much better job with him in charge. And he wasn't afraid to give the players heck about it if they weren't doing it well. George, in his senior year, like Maria Beatty, received the Medallion Award. This is a leadership award that is voted on by all the coaches in the school, including the principal and the director of the National Honor Society. And George won that. At the present time, George is a teacher and was a coach, and he is the aquatic director at the Pickett Middle School, one of the very best middle schools in the school district of Philadelphia. And in 1998, he received a very prestigious award. It's called the Stecker Award. And we have a couple of people in here who have received it. Fred Hauser got it. Joey Goldenberg back there, he received it. He's from West Philly. Cliff Hubbard got it, and it's given to the outstanding physical education teacher in the Philadelphia area. So it's a feather in Pickett's cap to have someone like that on their staff. I know today he's accompanied by his daughter Melissa, his son Paul. They are both soccer players with the Indians AA Soccer Club. As I say, the Ewers give back, and George gives back. Both the teams that he's associated in Roxborough with have gone on and won the city championship. Mr. Chairman, it's with great sincerity and admiration that I present George Eworth. But before I do, it's very important I want to say this. I want to commend Mr. Robert Eworth and his deceased wife Betty for just an outstanding job raising these two fine young men. Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone here tonight for coming out and being a part of this special occasion. To me, this is not an individual award. This is an award that deserves credit for the teams that we've been associated with, Roxborough High School, and the community. It's shared by many. I'd also like to congratulate personally the fellow inductees tonight, Miss Beatty, Miss Moan, Coach D, and the 1957 championship football team. I feel very honored to be included with this group of athletes. I'd like to thank the Lord for the blessings that He has provided for me over the years, as well as my family, Barbara, Paulie, Melissa, my dad and mom, my brother, teachers, coaches, and fellow athletes. A special thanks to Coach Jim Hallett and Coach Dr. Kasanis. These men have been very special in my life, and words just cannot describe the impact that these men have had not only in the community, but in the lives of young people still going on today. I'd like to thank my teammates also, Jimmy Miller, Paulo Mimo Gambaro, just one of the outstanding forwards I've ever come across playing soccer. Jimmy Casanis, Bill Fallon, my brother Bob, who I've kind of taken after all this leadership. It was because of Bobby, my dad, my mom, that I was able to follow some good footsteps. And the 1976 Public League soccer team, as well as my buddy Fred Davis and G. Wazork. Thank you for showing up tonight. I also think it's kind of neat to have my administration from Pickett Middle School, my principal, Miss Leslie Benton Miller, my assistant principals, Miss Arbella Cooper, Miss Beatrice Williams, and my roster chairperson, Miss Dolores Morgan, my good friend, Carl Harrison, in sharing a special moment in my life. I'm very grateful for the memories that Roxborough High School has provided me, and the thousands of others who have attended over the years. Thank you once again. I appreciate you coming tonight, and God bless you. Thank you. Our next inductee, Bernice Moan, will be presented by Linda McGee.
Linda, would you join me up here, please? Decided we give you a 2-for-1 here. I would, I'm asking you to, at some time this evening, to read the program and the material that has been written about each inductee. And I will go on with, it is an honor to present Bernice Moon, outstanding person, teacher, and coach. I admire, respect, and consider Bernice Moon a friend. It was in the early 60s when I first saw this incredible player at third base, playing in the Amateur Softball Association tournaments. These players had an unmatched dedication and love of the sport. A few years passed. One day, Bernice was standing in the doorway of the girls' gym office and introduced to us as the new kid on the block. I knew she had to coach the softball team. I became a happy camper because I got to work with the beginners on the JV team. If you need a clinician to demonstrate how to run a practice efficiently, with everyone working on the skills needed for the game, Bernice is your woman. She also has more than two eyes. She sees everything, and don't try to execute basics your way unless it's the right way. Your feet are here, your hands are there, and your eyes are looking everywhere. She has the ability to teach focus in the field, at bat, even on the bench. Bernice has a knowledge of the game so deep I would match her against anyone in the country or even the world. Most important, she is a coach. She knows how to teach and is unselfish in sharing that knowledge. Her players learn the basics and the intricacies of the sport. Since Bernice can teach, she can coach any and every sport. She was a hard taskmaster, but she was the hardest on herself. She pushed her girls to be the best, because she always pushed herself to accept nothing less than her best. And Bernice's work ethic pervaded everything she did. Few work as hard as Bernice when teaching and coaching. She and her teams won 2 public league championships, one in softball and one in basketball. And it was a combination of talent, work, and good coaching. I admire Bernice for all her abilities and talents, for her work ethic, and for being an unselfish person. She had a most positive effect on the physical education and sports programs at Roxborough High School. She's truly one of the finest role models for female athletes. She leads by example. You have to try. Don't give up. As a friend, Bernice, you are one of the best. Every trait that determines a friend, you have. Thank you, Bernice, for your untiring support, your exemplary professionalism, and for allowing me to learn so much from you.
I second that. All of that. Just give a little comic relief. Let me tell you about the day that I met Bernice. Picture a spring afternoon, the Roxborough High School softball field. I'm a youngster, my first year in the system, and I'm assigned to umpire Roxborough High School softball. We go through the first half inning and everything's fine, no complaints. First batter comes up, no problem. Second batter comes up. Youngster steps, I call a strike. Youngster steps out of the box, looks down at Bernice, and then I hear, you better swing, because obviously the ankles are in the strike zone today. And that was my beginning. Bernice was someone who shared what she thought with a touch of humor, always. Some of the other thoughts that I have about Bernice. I want to talk about how much she was a strict disciplinarian. I want to talk about how Bernice is a perpetual student. She was always learning how to be a better teacher, how to be a better coach, how to be a better administrator. Bernice taught me many of the things that I use in my daily life today, in my job that I currently hold, when I was a department head, when I was a chairperson. I learned many, many things from Bernice, and I use them daily. Loretta told you that she never stopped learning to
to teach drills and to teach skills to young people. She's still learning today. She just finished a college course, a computer course. Last fall, she took an online course. So she continues to learn. She will always be a student of life and of sport. Bernice is the consummate professional. She expected everyone not only to give a day's work for a day's pay, but more than a day's work for a day's pay. And she demanded no less of herself. No one worked harder than Bernice, and no one was more prepared to face the task of teaching and guiding the young people in her charge. Another thing about Bernice is that there was only one way to do things, and that was the right way and the best way. Not halfway or not having cared about the job that you're doing. One thing that I don't think was in the brochure tonight about Bernice's professional responsibility, she coached a professional softball team, the Pennsylvania Liberty. And I know that she's very proud of all the things that she's done. Bernice, thanks for all the things that you taught me, and thanks for being a good friend.
Mr. Chairman, it is with great sincerity and admiration that I present Bernice Moan for acceptance and induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Fred, and thank you, Lynn. Talk about being nervous.
Join the crowd.
I played in front of some really big crowds already in the Nationals, but talking about it something else. But thanks for your generous words, and thank you for honoring me. It's great to be here to see and talk with colleagues, with former students, and with current friends. And I'd just like to say a little bit more about that. The table up here from West Philadelphia High School. Will you please stand? These are people from the Physical Education Department at West Philly. And the two legends that were mentioned here tonight, Joe Golenberg and Al Angelo, I just happen to have the pleasure of teaching with at both West Philly and Frankfurt High School. When I arrived at Roxborough High School, there were no vacancies in coaching. So, I just kind of paid my time. And the first coaching assignment that opened up was in girls' gymnastics. It's not exactly my strong suit, but as always, at Roxborough High School, there were players who just gave their all and who were pretty dedicated. So, in spite of me, they went on to place third in the public league championships. My next coaching opportunity came in basketball, and the girls won the championship in 1972, but prior to that, we really had other contending teams, and even after that, we had a couple of tough breaks, and one did involve someone who's here tonight, before I talk about the championship team. That's the one we had where Lorraine Beatty was the high scorer in the team, and I figured we were headed for the championship, and we played, we had an alumni game up in the gym, and we played 4 quarters, and I said, that's it. Well, I think it was Ruthie Russo and a whole group of people said, oh no, one more quarter. Well, what happened was Lorraine came down and turned her ankle, and they won the championship. In 72, the girls, 71, we were in the championship game and we lost to Lincoln. In 72, they turned the tables and we defeated them. one thing that made that game memorable, and I don't know if you remember it, Mr. Hauser, is the bus never showed up. Now, at that time, there was only one coach for both the varsity and JV, so I had planned to take, we carried about 40 girls on the team, and I planned to take the JV so that we would have our own little rooting section. Well, of course, when the bus didn't show up, Mr. Hauser was, I think, one of our lone spectators, maybe a few parents. But the girls played very well and did win, and we came home and felt very good about it. Some of the players are here who played on that championship team. And three of the starters, Barbara Capizzi, Ann Strickling, and Chris Cotter, were also members of the Honor Society. And I'll never forget it because, you know, I always like to start my practice sometimes. Everything was always on the clipboard. In fact, the players used to try to sneak a look at my clipboard to try to figure out how long we were going to be out there on the floor or on the field. And of course, they tutored right after school 2 days a week, which was fine. I mean, I always had mixed feelings about that because I strongly believe in academics. But that gave me a chance to work with the JVs, and then eventually they would come to practice. Another player who was here, Barb Adams, was the point guard, and she's one of these type individuals who kept everybody loose. You know, always doing little silly things. Forward was Vicki Hattie. You may know the name. She also played at Textile. And a few things I'd like to say about Vicki. She's probably one of the most coachable players I've ever coached. She played both softball and basketball for me for 4 years. She never missed a day of practice and never missed a game. And that's pretty hard to find in the athletes today. When she went on to Textile College, at least 1 year, and I'm not sure which one it was, she was the nation's #1 scorer in Division III basketball. So thank you, Vicki, and thank you, the rest of you girls, for doing so well. The 1975 championship team, softball team, was unique in several ways. One of the unique characteristics of that championship team is that 9 of the players were also 9th graders. And there's a little story behind that. The year prior to that, and is that the first year, Mr. Hauser, we played on the mud flats, 75? Yeah. Prior to that, we would practice, I don't know, some man's name of the field down the hill. We'd play up the cathedral. We'd practice here, wherever. In fact, right. And players would get lost, you know. They might be passing who knows what. They would never show up to practice. And I kind of had it, so I made up my mind, no matter what. When we had the younger players come out, they were going to be on the varsity team, and I would work with them for 4 years. So we ended up with 9 9th graders on that championship team. We had a total of 18 players. 4 of the 9th graders were also starters. Girls, I'll mention their names a little bit later, which was really unusual. But they had so much character and so much maturity for being 9th graders that no one would ever pick them out as being that young. The other kind of unique thing was, into the season, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the mud flats, but they forgot to put drainage in there. So when we had a downpour, the water would come running off the bench, and you'd end up with real big gullies. Plus the fact they still do. They used to ride motorcycles down the hill.
Well, they still do that.
During the middle of practice, and we create more gullies. But I always picked batting practice, and to the starters. And I know the last player up the bat was somebody named Kathy McDevitt. We were playing Frankfurt High School that day. they were taking infield practice. We were out in left field. And I must have thrown 8 pitches to Kathy, and she didn't hit not one of them. I said, I'm going to throw you one more pitch. I hit the damn thing. Well, she did. And it came right back at me, and I pulled to go out of the way, stepped in the goalie, and broke my right ankle before the game. That'll teach me to keep my big mouth shut. So, the nurse at that time was Mrs. Keller. She brought the wheelchair down, sat here with my leg propped up, and went to the hospital the next morning. Of course, the school district, in their infinite wisdom, would not permit me to come to school with crutches, and the doctor wouldn't put a walker on me. He said it was too severe. So Mary Jane Christian, who's here, would come out after school with the team, and I would come in whenever I could or get somebody to drive me in so I could be with the team when we had practice. Well, that team did very well and went on to win the championship by beating Lincoln up at Northeast High School. Pitcher on that team was a young lady named Stephanie Coyle. The catcher, who's here, Debbie Felton, went on to play at Drexel. And here again, talk about outstanding leadership. This girl was my assistant coach. And today, I'm happy to say she's also a good, very, very good friend. A lot of maturity, never gave up. In fact, one of the criticisms that her coach had was that Debbie, I should have taught Debbie how to lose. I could never do that. The only thing I could think of is you play the best that you can and let the chips fall where they may. Our first baseman was Diane Preston. She was a 9th grader. Second base was Tony Pranzotti, 9th grade. Third base, Nia Wazurek, 9th grader. Shortstop, Darlene Rhodes. Left field, Kathy McDevitt. Center field, Patty Malagianowski. And right field, Nancy Galella, who was also a graduate in engineering at Drexel. Short fielder was Joanne Johnson. Right, one last thing I'd like to mention has to do with Marie Beatty. As mentioned previously, I coached both Lorraine and Marty, and all they told me about was this Marie Beatty. And I said, I can't wait to coach this girl, because she evidently, well, I did follow her career as much as I could, and she was outstanding. In fact, I umpired one of the championship games, one of the playoff games that she played in. As she was coming in '76, I was leaving to become a department head and athletic director at Dobbins. That's where I first went before I was bumped out of there. But Marie did meet all expectations, and I'm really very sorry I missed it. Thank you very much for bestowing this honor upon me, and I appreciate it very much. And I just can't tell you how wonderful it was to coach at Roxborough High School and teach, and how much it meant to me to for someone to remember me to this extent. Thank you.
Our last inductee for this evening, collectively I speak, is 1957 Public League Football Championships, will be presented by our legend, our institution, Mr. Fred Hauser.
I'd like to offer my congratulations to the inductees tonight. Outstanding group coming in this night. And introducing the 57 football team, all of you know that Roxborough has always been blessed with outstanding athletes, great coaches, and a great community. What made this team distinctive, and we're fortunate enough to win the championship, was that a lot of things happened to come together at the right time. All of those schools, all of those teams in those years had some obstacles. At that time, Roxborough High School was a small school in the city of Philadelphia. Most schools had 2, 3, 4 times, some even 5 times the number of high school students that Roxborough had. We were the only school in the public high school that had an eligibility that none of you would believe unless you talk to the athletes that survived it. Physically, this team was actually small, very small team, and in every game that season, they were outweighed by 20, 30, and 40 pounds a man on the line. But they had a lot of positives. Number one, they came from great families that taught them family values and parents that were interested in them. Secondly, they came from a great community. This community sponsored these young men at an early age, encouraged them in their sports, and gave them great coaching through their athletic associations. They had a great school and a great school spirit. Every game that we went away to that year, we would take 10 to 12 bus loads of faithful students and alumni. Every game we outnumbered the home team. Cheerleaders had a great time. They had a stand full of people that they could lead in cheers. They were very fortunate in the coaches that they had, and a guy they all loved. A great line coach that taught all of the skills that made it a great offensive and defensive line was Moose Mowbray. Moose was a father image to all of them, and when they had a problem, they went to Moose, and they knew that Moose would help them. We had an unusual coach that year, a pastor that came down, young guy, and he worked with the backs and the ends, and his name was Reverend Finksel. Guys loved him. We were very fortunate in the fact that we had probably the first knowledgeable athletic trainer in the city of Philadelphia. And we were probably the first school ever to have a whirlpool right within the school. And the reason we had that, Mr. Braverman took apart a wash machine, hooked up the wash machine motor, and we had our first whirlpool. Mr. Braverman happens to be with us tonight. Bill, would you stand up? We had tri-captains that year, and just 3 super young men, and each one had a different quality of leadership, but they were so outstanding that the team just, nobody could lay down behind them. They just set a torrid pace, and everybody followed with them. The other thing that was interesting, as little as they were, this team had complete balance. We did not have a weak position anywhere in the offensive line, the defensive line, offensive back, or defensive back. Every man, they were small, but they knew how to block. When they had to cross block, they cross blocked. When they had to trap, they trapped. When they had to block man to man, they blocked it. The backs blocked for each other, opened the holes. Defensively, every man played his position, gave good pursuit, were great tacklers. The defensive backs did not get fooled on pass defense, and they covered exceptionally well. So the team was well balanced. And putting it all together, all of these positives far outweighed the negatives, and it enabled this team, who was fortunate over the previous teams, to put it all together. And as a result, they were the first team to win a public high school championship in the school district, or in Roxborough High School. And it opened the door for any team that came after them to do the same. If they can do it, another team can do it as well. So it is with a great deal of sincerity and admiration that I present to you, Mr. Chairman, the 1957 Roxborough High School football champions for acceptance and induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. So we have 2 of the George Heiser, and Jimmy Fennell. All right, would you two come up?
It is our pleasure to accept this Hall of Fame trophy and award for the 1957 football team. This team was a great team, but they were expected to win nothing. But they won almost everything. I'd really like to thank Fred Hauser for his moving presentation. When Fred was a coach, he gave us a lot of moving presentations. And if our performance was bad, we could always look over and we'd see Fred was chewing on grass. Now, I don't know what the grass did, but I guess the chlorophyll cleaned and freshened his breath, because there was never an unkind or negative word from Coach Fred Hauser. Can't say that about all the coaches, but Fred Hauser. And I think that's a real tribute to a coach, to be that kind of a leader in school that can get his message through and motivate people that way. Fred covered a couple of the other coaches, so we're going to have some things afterwards. I'm not going to go back into those details. We appreciate what they've done, and we have a lot of ground to cover, so we'll acknowledge them in our special presentation. The other thing that we're doing, there's a lot of people wearing name badges for the people that couldn't attend here. If you wanted more details on the people that can't attend, I'm not going to try to cover that here. You may make a slight comment of they're not going to be here, but if you meet someone with a name badge, you can get a lot of details. All of the players made a real effort to get here. There were several at the last minute, had some very serious operations that they had to undertake and couldn't make it. We may see some people coming in wheelchairs even that they were going to try to make it. But if they don't come, we'll fill you in later on why they can't come. I think we just got another message of one that had a back injury on his way here, so we'll try to discover him. Jim, we want to cover, we're down.
We do have one part-time coach I'd like to acknowledge, table 12. Mr. Jack Bottinger was our pre-season coach. Fred Hauser was the state was made illegal for the team to start back and throw. Responsible coach Jack Bottinger. Table number 6, we have manager Pancho Carner. Dr. Carner. Also, I'd like to say manager Charles Devlin, deceased. Pancho Carner is wearing his badge tonight.
When we were getting the players together, I made a lot of phone calls all over the country, and very quickly someone said, well, what about the cheerleaders? So we had to quickly get a call back and include the cheerleaders because they really do a good job. The coaches get the team all fired up for the game, but the cheerleaders get their blood flowing a little faster, I think, after the coaches are done. This special effect has lasted for more than 40 years for some of the football players here. Starting off at table 11, you can stand up. Roberta, Bobby, well, let's go, Bobby Garvey, originally Heller. 11 also cheerleader Judith Curcio, originally Carberry, most of you know. Some of these, Alice Lynn Warner is no longer with us. We'll get more details. Loretta Grimes was a twirler. She was supposed to be here, but her husband Charlie had the back problem. Rita Wilson was supposed to be here. Sandra Drennan Riganti, Lynn Ruff, Evelyn Wilmont Miller, Nancy Hebner, and Doris Sims Preston. I think a lot of the cheerleaders, their husbands wouldn't let them come with this crew here. They must know you. We are not here today because one player did something great. We are here today because a team did something great. We regret that we only have time to mention a couple of things right now, but after this we're going to spend a couple of minutes, and I think everybody will get a chance to get to the mic and tell everybody how they feel about it, and probably cover a lot of things that we can't say here right at the moment. In the final analysis of this team, many sports experts contributed much of the success of the team to not losing key players with injuries. In reality, the backup players just made it look like we didn't lose key players. The team also didn't have any serious injuries with the report card, and it was a tough rule to get by. I mean, we struggled. Some positions were manned by backup players for almost the entire season. All of the players had playing time, and there were only 3 players on the team that started on both offense and defense for the whole season. So you can see that everybody contributed. When replacement players ran onto the field for their very first time, it often took a few plays for their minds to catch up to them. In one game, the referee came to me as captain on the field and said he would give me 5 seconds to get my man out of the other team's huddle when we had a 15-yard penalty. It only took a couple plays for him to settle down. And what really surprised me, the other team didn't even realize he was in the huddle. I'm not mentioning names, we can do that later.
It's okay, no.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we're going to start with some of the players. There were only 6 positions, and some players went both ways in 57. I know that confuses you now, but before we confuse you any further, I'm going to have Jim announce some of the players.
Yeah, I never saw a player volunteer for the center position. The coach always appoints one of the toughest players for this position. In addition to the physical abuse they endure, mental abuse, quarterbacks and kickers often blame the center for the bad plays. At table 17, we have Bart Proud, all Scholastic. I must note, though, that Bart did bounce the ball several times before reaching the kick. The 2 backup. At table 17, we have Leroy Funk. And at table 17, we have Jack Egley. In 1957, ends looked like greyhounds, tall, thin, and very fast. The thinnest one was called Pinhead. But now it would be difficult to identify Pinhead. At table 6, at end, number 84, Joseph Thummel. Starting with that second. At table 23, we have end, well, Joe Janoskly isn't here tonight, so he had other arrangements. Table 17, we have in Ronald Griffith. Charlie Grimes is not here also tonight. Table 18, Brandy Gubasa. Table 23, we have Harry Antrim. Table 18, we had Frank Clark. Robert Preston. Bob, Bart is wearing his badge. Robert isn't here tonight. Jeff Smith, number 82, and Bob Petkavich, who is also not here tonight.
Okay, next the fullbacks. Table 11. The first fullback we had was number 34, Joseph Luthi. Joe was primarily a blocking back, but when a blocking back does a great job of taking care of the quarterbacks and the halfbacks, they usually throw him a bone every once in a while. And he must have been really great because they kept throwing him a lot of bones in the championship game. He, first and one, he scored a touchdown. He scored a lot of touchdowns with driving through. Phil Steele planned to be here. He was anxious. I know a lot of people wanted to see him. He said he's a principal in a school up in New Hampshire, and he got detained. I believe the part about being detained. I can't believe he's a principal in a high school. If you know. Incidentally, just one of the things for Bill Steele in that championship game, he was the guy that recovered that ball and got it on the one for Joe Luthi to punch it through. Also at table 11, fullback Frank Petrellis, number 30. Frank was a sophomore that started at defensive end in the West Philly game early in the season. A sophomore came in, started, did a great job. Frank and Joe Facey were credited with taking control of the game, the West Philly game, when they caused 2 fumbles recoveries. And Frank continued for the rest of the season. He had another interception. And throughout the rest of the season, he completed it all the way through the championship game and everything as a sophomore. That's a real tribute to the way he played. Backing them up, Lou Beatus couldn't be here tonight.
Guards have a tough battle every play, especially when they face players twice their size and weight. One opponent would weigh 265 pounds. An indication here at table 11, guard Bob Marshall, starting offensive guard, 165 pounds. At table 11, guard number 51, Joe Garvey, soaking wet, 135 pounds. 140 with a leather helmet. Table 23, guard number 26, Bob Moresco, starting defensive. Guard Carl Cornell is not here tonight. Guard number 64, Vincent Viola, is not here also. We have guard number 6, Albert Wollemeyer. Bob Moresco is wearing his badge tonight. We have guard number 50, Charles Hegel. Jack Hegley is wearing his badge tonight.
Okay, now to the halfbacks. You may wonder why almost probably half the team are halfbacks when I go down here. And I guess one of the reasons is halfbacks get to score the most touchdowns, so everybody wants to be a halfback. But it's not all glory. Halfbacks take quite a beating, and the coach always uses them as a messenger to run plays in and out, so they get a lot of time running. After a halfback takes a real beating, we often check him out by telling him he scored 5 touchdowns and one of the cheerleaders is crazy about him. If this produces a nice big smile, we tell the coach to get him out of the game so somebody rung his bell. Get another one in. In the city championship game, we had a similar one where a halfback ran in with a play. We never practiced, and we don't even run the play. We didn't know what to do. We finally decided to run it anyway with no chance. It was even for the wrong down. I think that halfback was in there for one too many plays. First off, we have Jim Fennell. Jim Fennell has scored 104 points in that season, which is a tremendous amount of points. He was all everything, all public, all scholastic, all city, all state. And he played offense, defense, and every special team, never left the field. Jim was credited with being one of the best halfbacks ever in this area. But he always passed much of the credit on to the other people on the team, just like he's doing tonight. Table number 18, number 20, Bill Broughton. It's a real accomplishment. Bill Broughton was also all public. Now when you get one guy that's all public, and then you take the other positions with another all public, it's really an accomplishment. You've got to say these guys are really good because they usually don't put more than one player from one team in there. Now Bill did a great job. He scored a lot of points and had many important runs. Bill would be part of the rotation, though, as he would come in and out on the plays. And the other part, a big part of the rotation, was halfback, number 42, Robert Foyle. Robert Foyle is being represented by his mother, and she's at table 10. Would you stand? She's a real dedicated fan of the team. Bob was planning to fly in from California, and he's involved with a ministry in California, and some things occurred, and he called in and asked his mother to please come in and represent him. Some of the accomplishments of Bob, we scored the toughest touchdown, which was our first touchdown of the season. Once you get the first one, it becomes easy. He also caught a short pass and ran the rest of the way for a 50-yard touchdown in the Thanksgiving game. Bob would rotate in on many plays, have a nice long run, 40, 50 yards, another guy would rotate in and take it over. So with the rotation system, some of the real good players don't really score a lot of touchdowns, but they have some real big runs. Halfback Fred Duckett. Fred, sure. Number 22, Fred Duckett. He scored a touchdown in a game that it's nice to have one in the Thanksgiving game when all the family and everybody's there. So that was a real important one. Other halfbacks that were rotated in and out. We had Bill Bottinger, table number 12. Also at table number 12, Stan Morrison. Table 12 also Charles Missiver. And we had another halfback that was real hard to find. Nobody could find him, was Harry Adams. If anybody comes up with where Harry got to, we'd like to know so we can at least send him a tape of his ceremony. And now to the quarterbacks. When you look at our quarterbacks, you have to remember that our quarterbacks played before all the rules were put in to protect these quarterbacks. At table number 18, we have quarterback number 12, Robert Minisow. Bob was a real master of deception, and he really carried it to extremes. He was referred to as Bob, Robert, Frank, Jim, and Gandhi. So he was a master of deception. Even in the program, if you read the program, when the other team looked at it, he put his name under Jim Fennell's picture, and Jim Fennell's name was under his picture. So when they ran a play, they not only didn't know who had the ball, they didn't even know who gave it to the other team. At table number 18, we also have quarterback number 16, Jim Rowley. Jim completed a 50-yard touchdown pass to Grimes in the Thanksgiving game. And he's had numerous times he rotated in. We also had rotating in was quarterback at table number 18, Charles McCormick. At table number 6, we have quarterback number 11, Pete Lepresti. Pete was the starting defensive cornerback. He got credit for a critical interception in the West Philly game. But he inspired the team most by always getting all A's on the report card. It was amazing when we would have to show our report cards to the coach, and when he would pull that thing out, all the other players would shudder. Yeah.
Tackles. The biggest heavy-duty guys are usually picked for the tackle positions. Of course, most of the team look like tackles today. At table 12, number 72, all public, all scholastic, Ed Martin, two-way player. Right up here with me, number 74, George Reistad, all public, all scholastic, all city title, most valuable player, and a winner of the Wilbur Gardner Crowell Award. Also, kicker, punter, extra points. Number 73, Jim Ellis is not with us tonight. Table 18, Bill Calhoun, of course, starting on defense for the Big Championship game. Tackle, number 75, Joe Fazy. Joe is not here tonight. Number 71, Leo Haley.
really need to look around and see this event tonight to see why this team was so successful. These people came from all over the country, came back, and made a real effort, the same kind of effort they did during the season. The team won another big one tonight. It was a long time before they won this one, but it was a lot sweeter because we really had a chance to enjoy it. I'd like to thank the committee of the Hall of Fame. They've done a fantastic job here. I worked very closely with a few people, Jack Harmer, Terry Hammett, Joe D'Angelo, and there were so many other people working in the background. They've done a fantastic job. I'd like to thank the school, the coaches, and the community, and the glue that holds this group together. This team is a never-ending success story. Immediately after this award ceremony, the 57 team has a 2-minute presentation where the players can go. Anybody willing to stay, we may have a lot of fun. We're planning to enjoy ourselves. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to get down here in time. We got everybody stuck around for tonight. We have the 50-50 drawing here. It is worth, we're still tabulating, it's worth approximately $410 to the winner. I would like, let's see, just so you think this 60-40, I mean 50-50 is on the up and up. Let's call Leaworth. Would you come up here, please?
Good, man.
Winner of the 50-50, 9496740.
Say it again.
9496740. Do we have a winner? 9496740.
Yes, it is. Don't forget the little guy.
That's it.
Yo, you gotta tell the kid to pick the ticket. 10%. Next week.
Jimmy, Ralph Rosado would give the money back.
Yeah, but with Norm Haverly.
Okay, real quickly now, we're going to give a few t-shirts away, okay? We'll do it quickly. You can call your number, please come up. 9496350.
No. Well, that's yours too. If you have 40, you have 50.
Get out of here.
I don't want to say
You get that one, that guy's in the bathroom. Here we go. 9496583. 9496583.
You got a winner.
Okay. Next ticket.
350.
Okay. 9496585. Okay.
Over there.
9497028.
What's that?
9497028. Next one, 9496245. 9496245.
One Barrett will give you
Oh, okay. Roxborough.
Couple more.
Johnny,
Johnny boy. Thank you. Phase 2, here we go. 949-6333. 949-6333. Okay. Last one. 949-6273. 949-6273.
Friday, so she got this machine. In fact, she'd go down there waiting.
273 going once.
Except every once in a while she'd come back and change her machine. They must have changed the machine. Give her money.
Speech? No, it doesn't. Thank you for supporting the 50-50 tonight.
Okay, we've had a kind of long evening, so I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. First of all, I'd like to, so we can once again recognize and have all the inductees please stand. Let's give a big round of applause. Since a lot of these guys were bashful, I'm going to indulge upon the 57 football team. If all of you would please stand so everyone can see you. A lot of you, they called your name, we didn't ever see anyone stand up. So please stand so everyone can see all the 57 football teams. A lot of hard work goes into putting the fair on every year and doing the things that we do throughout the year. It takes quite a few dedicated people to make tonight come off. So I'd like to have all the committee members, if you would, please stand. Next, I know that there are a lot of people who came out to see your favorite father, nephew, son maybe, inducted tonight. So I'd like to have all the families of our inductees please stand. All the families. I would be remiss if I did not thank our host tonight. And I don't know where Bart got to, but Bart D'Angelo, here's Bart. Bart always puts on a #1 A-class fair wherever we come. Thanks to Bart. And everyone knows Joe's, but Joe's around somewhere too, so Joe can take this. That's really awesome. We're really thrilled to have all of you here tonight, and without talking about age or years or anything like that, quite a few of the people are up here. I did have the good fortune of being here when some of them were here. I think all of them, except the 57 football team. I wasn't here when they were. But I did have the honor of coaching with Ben. It was a great 22 years. I had the distinct honor, like Norm Haverty said, of watching Bernice with her teams and saying that she's probably one of the greatest coaches we ever saw. Marie Beatty, I remember when she was here and there was no one around the school like her. And of course, George Eworth, who did all the things that Jim Howard said. Every time we turn around, there was George. And I still see George now when he comes over and works with the kids who are coming over to Roxborough in the evening playing soccer. So George is still working hard, giving back to the community. So once again, we're very happy that now they are in the Hall of Fame. They've been properly inducted, and then pictures, if you ever get into the school, their pictures will, with their plaque, will appear on the wall. Our Wall of Fame, which is on the second floor outside of our counselors, across my counselor's office and outside of the Roxborough office. One other thing I'd like to mention to everyone if you would like to join the Hall of Fame, we really would like to have you do so. If you have a favorite player or coach who was here at Roxborough, the only way we can get them in is if you join the Hall of Fame Club, and then you are permitted then to nominate a person. And the way the people go in, the members vote. And each year we induct 5 people, or in this case 4 people in one team, and they were the ones that came out with the most votes. So if you have a favorite person who you knew, or who was here when you were here, who was a Roxborough athlete, or who was a coach, we need for you to join the Hall of Fame so that you can then nominate them. And if you look in the back of your program book, on that last page, there is a membership application. And the person who would get the membership application is Dave here. Is Dave still here? Dave, back here, Dave is the one who would receive the membership application. So I know a few people mentioned to me tonight they want to join. So if you want to join tonight, you can tear that back piece off and give Dave your $50 if you want to become a lifetime member, or at least $5 to become an annual member. And then we'll hope that somewhere down the line you will become a lifetime member. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And we're going to close in the way we always close. We're going to have John Barkley come up. He's going to lead us in the school song. And immediately after that, Robert Ewart is going to come up and do the benediction.
Before you tear your membership application off, look right above it. If you've forgotten the words to the school song, there are 2 verses there. So let's all stand and sing it together. Okay, there you go. Oh, Roxborough, we love thee. We will stand by thee through all. Oh, Roxborough, thou goodest school, we will never let thee fall. Our Roxborough High School, way up on the hill. Oh, we'll hear her glory echoed with a thrill. Shall we work with spirit for our high school? Roxborough we will. Oh, Roxborough will see thee as future years pass by. Still holding as you're doing on a place of honor high. Our Roxborough High School, way up on the hill. Oh, we'll hear her glory echoed with a thrill. Shall we work with spirit for our high school? Roxborough we will.
Close in prayer, please. Father in heaven, again, we're grateful to you for all the blessings. Thank you for the athletes represented here tonight. Thank you for your kindness, your goodness, and your mercy in each one of their lives. Lord, now as we leave, I pray that you grant us safety and a good time home. For we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, thanks again for coming, everyone. Have a safe trip home. Don't forget the 57 is going to have their little affair starting right away.
Where is everybody from the 57 team? I'm here to give my speech.
Bucky here. I remember Bucky and I were running laps forever, I think. We went out in the water, but we left the last class early or something, and he had us run a lap more than any other time. Of course, I remember the bus ride from the 20th Century Diner.
Manor Road.
Kissing all the cheerleaders, you know, the band leading us up to sing. There's one thing I can't remember. I don't know how this ever happened. I remember Bucky Croft coming up the field. I know it was a long time ago, but I think we still wore helmets. With the big little helmets. And somebody bit Bucky's ear off. He can run off the field, somebody bit his ear off. I don't understand that. How did that happen, Bucky? Running off the field, your ear was all ripped off. You said somebody bit his ear off. That's hard to visualize. How you're, I guess you wear your helmet. Anyway. But the thing I remember a lot of the bus ride up and I want to go back to one again and sing our favorite song is Feel So Good. And we score. Come on, baby, let's go.
Okay, guys, for me, it's going to be let's get started.
Talk into that mic. I can't hear you.
There's only 3 folks on this. I just want to let you guys know to realize the important person to follow God. Let me say that and follow that by saying, love all you guys. My next thing to follow what Brother Funk said is this. Some things kind of sticks in your life and you have to predict some things too. Along with singing and shouting and so forth, you guys probably remember that I had a habit at times of using a little stick and go on this, on that, whatever. And I remember after a practice, somebody came around and slapped me with this. I came out with a whole string of them. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, that's even on. Come out of the office. It was behind me. I don't know how many of you guys remember this. Fred was my name. So, he told me that people have the person to get their point across. And not understand English. And as a result, I think it's time for me to come up with things. Thanks.
George's accolades, made them all public, was the best player of the game. If it wasn't for me, snapping the ball back, bouncing it from my shortstop, he'd have never had any of these awards, you know? So, during that game, I get one good snap. What's George do? Drops the ball. He just wanted to get back at me for burning his treehouse down. I know that was it, George. But I tell you, you did a great job putting everything together, and it was really a terrific time.
More the tape is rolling, guys. Somebody get up there. Here we go.
This is to my buddy, Coach Hauser. We had just won a game. We're on to the team bus. So we gotta come back to the school. So they're kind of like sitting in the back. The coach is in his regular position in front of the bus. He turns around to all the players and he says, there's a girl in my homeroom that has a crush on one of the players. I don't want to embarrass him by saying what his name is, but his number is 44. As soon as I was in the back of the bus, I saw the players' head go down, like checking their numbers, and they had a 44 on it. And the only one that really was disappointed was Bottinger, because his number was 43. He came close. Thanks, guys.
Come on, Horace, get up there.
The only thing I remember is in the Germantown meeting, Coach said, we're ready to do a great point. So I said, all right, and we need like all the fun. Like that now, he's pulling his hair out. They didn't have that much.
Yeah, here goes Frank. There we go. Frank's a little away. There we go. Here we go.
I'll tell you why this is such a privilege for me is because I was the youngster on the team. And I looked up to all you guys as my big brother because I was like a sophomore. And just being on the team was really important to me, let alone finally starting at end. I do recall that when I was thinking that I was a fullback, I remember Mr. Hauser would have this drill where I would have to go and block right back. Now, I was 154 pounds, and I would have to lead the block right back, giving me a forearm that I was seeing stars. I would put him on the ground, and then I'd get up, and he'd say, Mr. Hauser, do that again. I must have did that 3 times, seeing stars. Then I knew I was not a fullback anymore. Very good.
Who we got, Joe?
I guess my big time was probably the 8th season against Germantown. After playing with guys like Buffy and Jimmy on scoring CDs left and right and what have you. I forget what quarter it was, but all of a sudden a big hole opened. We were on the 20-yard line. Could have drove a truck through it. I took off, beat everybody out, but about 40 or 50 yards out, I ran out of gas. About 6 or 7 Germantown players jumped all over me at about the 9-yard line, their 9-yard line. And, that was my big chance for the long run, and it was never happened.
You were good for the one, though.
thing that was not raised, and that is, there was a lot of time listening on this. It should have expected to be that okay, they came through. And I think that came from leadership we had in the office. And I really think my hats off to this team. It's great. Yeah.
I knew you heard it. Sam Morris, man, we got it. There we go.
The highlight of my 57 career was
when they called us
next to Bubby Robbins.
Yeah.
Bubby had this lady was watching his t-shirt until we lost. By the time November came, it was green, it had holes in it. I had to turn my head every time I got dressed down there, and so did he. I couldn't believe it.
Hell yes.
It was a great experience. It wasn't wrong. And, something to
No, I hide it, bro. I'll tell you.
First of all, I have a real pleasure telling the story about Joe Ruby, who happens to be my brother-in-law to his two sons. He didn't run out of steam. The building caught him. He's just simply the slowest batter on the team. The story I want to tell is about Joe Garvey. Somebody identified me as 165 pounds. That's what the program said. I was really, during that season, about 150. And Joe was literally about 138. When we played Lincoln, Joe and I were doing our pregame workouts, and the other linemen from Lincoln were taunting us. Joe and I were just talking about this, and they were calling us midgets and dwarfs and gnomes and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's close to the end of the game. We're going in for the final touchdown, and Joe is talking to, what was the guy's name? Shear?
Jack Shear.
Jack Shear. There was another guy whose name was Anderson. These guys are about 245, 260 in high school. He's 20. There's a big pile up the end of the thing. I get beaten up in the pile, bleeding like crazy. And they come and put peroxide on my face. My father, along with players from Grass High School, jumped the fence to get into the fight. My father had a good experience because I guess he crossed up his knuckles. My mother had heard that because of Joe's activities, that I was taken to the hospital foaming at the mouth. That's peroxide. All because of 138-pound Joe Garvey. I just wanted to say a few words. You may remember Vinny Viola. He was a starting guard when we started the season. Vinny broke his collarbone and they gave me my chance to be the starting guard, which I was for about 5 or 6 games, and I hurt my ear hunting. Mark pushed me over a fence. I'm still half deaf in this ear from it. But anyway, Joe Garvey then took over for me, the starting guard. So it was a big disappointment what's happening for Joe. But anyway, when I was coming back from my injury, I remember this one practice that I was really getting beat up by Al Waldemar. I mean, normally it was a practice, and you just don't go that hard. But Al was hitting me over the side of the head. Al was a kind of little guy to push him out to begin with. Then to get him mad, it was even twice as bad. But I asked Al afterwards, I said, Al, why do you beat me up like that? He said, well, Coach Mowbray didn't think you were putting out enough, and he just wanted to test you a bit. Coming back, that's the way Mr. Mowbray, got you motivated. That was an interesting observation.
I've got to do his part. If Jim Cannell didn't mention it in the regular part of the presentation, we were trying to speed things up. But Leo Haley, of course, was the guy that ran in the wrong huddle. So he Lincoln player, you know, that was ready to score a touchdown. The only thing that could really understand, as we were just talking about Leo, it wasn't Leo Haley. It was only Leo Haley's jersey. Because the player that was stopping him ripped his jersey, put on, Leo Haley had to take off his, put it on, and then Leo Haley got all the credit for doing everything in the championship game.
Who else we got? Anybody else? Mike, you haven't done anything yet, you know. Got any other guys? I don't know. Wait a minute. Joe, come on. Hey, come on.
Actually, I got
I tried to get Joe up. Come on, Greenhead, let's go.
Get a mic first.
Any of you guys, don't get in the mic. Stay in the mic. Any of you guys go Film Alumni Association. We have fun last November. I had fun last November. They're not invited. They're not invited. We had a ball. People I haven't seen in 20, 30, 40 years. I had the membership card. Charlie Ryan was supposed to be here. Husband was pretty long. He's going to be a pack. Playing golf. Thank God we were all part of Roxborough, the community, and the city. Thank God. For the other one.
Final, I can remember him hitting so hard that he broke his own collarbone. Never missed a practice though. Remember, you guys didn't miss practices. Rap or no rap, you get out on the field. Just stay on the watch. I remember the day Leo Haley, and you guys probably all remember the day, someone came down from the office and said, I'm going to see Leo Haley. He was the biggest followers. And that was of course, Calhoun, he's a mark of me to say that he, the sprints, but he did some miracles. The fact that he played with his name and played well. Well, I'm going to talk about Eddie Martin. I thought you either were tough inside or you could never learn it. And as a sophomore, I was all over Eddie Martin. I thought he never be an aggressive, hard-nosed football player. But he did. Eddie, his senior year, was real hard-nosed, aggressive, good football player. Fond memories of all you guys. Just super to be here tonight. I just sat down and I was in the right place at the right time. And I was able to coach you guys. What a great night.
Yeah, where's Rolly? Where's that guy?
Well, I didn't start light all the time, but the best things I remember were the practices. Of course, Mr. Housel was a very quiet guy. Of course, if you made a mistake, that whole town of Roxborough heard and yelled. And you did forget it. I remember one time, the boys had a problem. And I felt sorry for him. Every time we made a mistake, he had to take a lap. I think you guys remember Boggy Moresco? I mean, this poor guy, every time we turn around, take a lap. Come back, get it right. Bobby, take another lap. Come back, get it right. I really felt sorry for him. If you made a mistake, try to make sure that you remember and not forget it. Because the way he's in third grade, they can hear more than high school. That's what I would like. Good to see you, guys.
that I'm here enjoying an evening with a fantastic group of people and one bunch of fantastic athletes. That's all I really have to say. And I hope we can get together another time and keep it going. That's it.
You guys, very good. Come on, Jim.
I'll tell you, we're going to run you for a politician.
My only claim to fame was the Thanksgiving Bridgeport game. I threw a touchdown. They had on the blue jerseys I used to wear Jimmy Burnell's number, and on the white jersey I had my own 16. Well, that day we had blue jerseys on. Jimmy Burnell got credit for the touchdown.
Hey, Bobby Warner, how about
I don't have any.
Hey, we got our Hey, Charlie McCormick. You gotta get up there.
Help him up there. Come on, McCormick. Charlie. Help him up there, Joe. Help him up there. Get up there and help you.
There we go. Bobby Marshall saying it.
Well, tell us how much you weigh, Charlie. Don't tell us to do Winston. Tell them how much I helped your career.
Great to see everybody. And they brought me about 140 pounds when I graduated from high school. I've gained a few pounds since then. I weigh more than Worst Scout right now. But anyhow, on Thanksgiving, of course, I'll be giving you my pants. Carrasco also.
All right.
But yeah, looking back to 1957, I didn't play that much. I just got beat up in practice a lot, being the opposing team quarterback against the defense. But overall, it was great. Just being with all the guys and loved it all the time, even though I did get beat up. But anyhow, it was great. Thanks.
Nice job here, old guy.
Okay, it looks like Bobby Warner left. We might as well wrap this up. We only got our noses rubbed in about how great Bobby Warner was, and we had a great after that, Jack Bottinger, and then the great after that was Jimmy Burnell. I think this team really did a great job, and the guys in the 2-minute presentation really hit their hearts out. I think it's a tribute to them. We got to get together again. Now, as far as the presentation, the game, there's 2 tapes available. If you want a tape, you can get a tape of the original presentation. That was $20. If you want the changing of game, that's $25.
Do both tapes for 30. Both of them. I can't get it. I can't get all of it.
Wow, that's great. We got a deal. We got it. Wait a minute. We got it. Hey, we got a deal going there. Hey, look. We can't beat this deal. This is a great deal, right? 2 tapes. $10?
We'll take it.
You give me the $30. I'll give you the tapes. We're going to have a great time. So anybody who wants to sign up for the tapes, just let me know. With the 2 tapes for 30, you only get 1 for 20. I would go for the 2. Wow. Great deal. I guess that's it, guys. You've been a great group, and I think the bar will still be open for a little while. And Marshall, I'm not even. Okay.
What are the 2 stakes we have here?
Bobby's running it in 5 years. Hey, look, you guys can join the organization. You can come. It's every year. And we'll try to do this and make sure we all get together at least. Instead of guys that come from Florida and things like that, they may only want to come up every 5 years.
We can go to Florida.
George,
George, we can go to Florida.
Yeah, we'll go to Florida.